Hi guys, and welcome to my second video tutorial. Today I would like to teach you how to write your own message coder. So let's get to work. First of all, we need our cipher, something that will convert our message into the coded message. And we are going to borrow the cipher from a guy named Julius Caesar. I hope you know who he was. And Julius had a friend, Rufus. So when Julius wanted to text Rufus, he had to code his messages because he was afraid that the enemies will capture them. So he created a method. Every single letter from his message was replaced by the first next letter in the alphabet. If he, for example, wanted to text him, "Hi Rufus," Rufus received the message like you can see on the screen. When we have a cipher, we should start coding. So let's do it. Let's define our function. Let's call it coder, and we shall think about the arguments. What shall we give into the function? Of course, we would like to enter something into the function and then convert it. We should use the input function. It will allow us to enter the arguments from the keyboard. The program will simply ask you for your arguments. So let's write input, and we shall write the message that the program will show us when he will be asking for the argument. So let's write, please enter the message. So we have entered the message. For example, our message will be text. And now we would like to convert every single letter from the message we entered into a different letter. How can we do it? I would like to show you how the program will work in a non-programmistic way. Let's think about our message as if it is some kind of an article that has to be transported somewhere by a train. But it will be hard to transport the whole word in the one carriage. So we have to separate the article to the parts. How can we know how many carriages we need to prepare for our article? We just have to count the parts of the article. So let's get back to our program for a while. So we've got our message. Now we would like to put it in the carriage. So what is the Python's equivalent for carriages? We will use arrays. Array is a kind of data structure that will allow us to assign a huge amount of data into a just single line of the code. So all we have to do is, as you can see, put the data in the bracket, and also, as you can see, we can put the verbs into the arrays. As I said before, we need to know how many carriages do we need in order to transport the material. In different words, we need to know how long our array should be. So how can we get this information? Well, it's very easy. We can use the function len in order to get the length of our message. All we have to do is to use this function on a string, but we have to remember that the function will give us back string too. So in the next steps we are going to convert it into a number. We've got our material. We know how many carriages do we need in order to transport them, but we still don't know how to put the material into the carriages. So in other words, we don't know how to put each single letter from our message into the particular place in the array. So how can we do that? Surprise, surprise! As you could imagine, there's a function that will help us convert the string into an array. So it works pretty similarly to the len function, and it's called list. So all we have to do is we are gonna type list and use some string, and as you can see, it will give us back the array with the words or letters that we are using. So let's go back to our program. We should now enter these two functions inside our code. So let's start with the length function, and now the list function. So now we are having the length of the list, and we are ordering the program to convert the letters from the string into an array. Let's get back to our cipher for a while. So at the beginning I said that we want each single letter from our message to become the fourth letter after her. So how can we achieve that? It may seem that we could add 4 to our letters. The program will give us back the fourth letter after her. No, it's not going to happen. We cannot add the number to the letter. But what if we would have to add the number to a number? Yeah, it would probably work. So why don't we transform a letter into a number? Let's imagine that we have assigned every single letter from the alphabet to a different number. If we could do that, we could transform the letters from our message into the number that we have assigned to them. Then we could add 4 to them. And then we could convert the numbers back to the letters that they were assigned to. As a result, the program will give us back our coded message. Seems easy, right? Well, there's a problem with assigning the numbers into the letters because it will take a lot of time. Fortunately for us, someone has already done that. What you are looking at is the Ascii table. As I said before, someone took all of the letters from the alphabet and many other signs and assigned them into numbers. And what is more, there is a special function that will show us to what number the particular letter is assigned to, and it's called OR. So what we have to do to use this function is to type OR, and so all we have to do is we are gonna call the function OR and write a letter in the bracket. As we can see, this function is giving us back the number assigned to a particular letter. Let's look at our example. We are going to write a code that will, first, step 1, convert the letters from our message into the numbers. Step 2, add the 4 to all the numbers. And step 3, convert back the numbers to the letters. Before step 1, there's one more thing. We need to make 3 new empty arrays, because when we are going to convert the letters into the numbers, there has to be a place for this number somewhere in the program. Then when we would like to add 4 into that numbers, there have to be a place for new numbers. And when we would like to convert back the numbers, then there have to be a place for new message. How could we make these new arrays? So of course they have to be the same length as the first one, and they have to be empty. So we are going to make a 0 array and multiply it by the length of the first array, and that will give us the empty array with the same length of the first array. So we need to convert our letters into the numbers. Of course we are gonna do it with function OR. But are we gonna OR every single letter? Well, maybe in our case, when we have only 4 letters, it won't be a problem. But what will happen if someone would like to code love letter? Well, this could be annoying, yes? So of course we are going to use the loop for to do it. So we are going to create a loop that will use the function OR on every single letter of our message and convert it to the number. So the number of the loops will be equal to the length of our message. Okay, so in step 1 let's write for I in range 0 to the number that is representing the length of our message, the value that is representing the length of our message. So we want them to make a new array E, take the value from array D, which is our array with our message, and ORed it in order to make the numbers from it. So, as we already know, it will take the first letter from this message and convert it to the number. In the second loop, it will take the second letter from the message and convert it to the number, and it will do it to the last letter of our message. Let's move on to step 2. We are going to create a loop that will simply add 4 to every value of the array. So nothing special here, the range is the same, and the new array is equal to the value of previous array plus 4. So let's move on to the third step, converting numbers into the letters. So if there's a function that converts letters into a number, there is probably a function that will convert numbers into the letters. Yes, you are right. And it's the function called CHR from the character, not from the Charizard. So we are going to use it. It works exactly the same way as the function ORD. So we have our program, but right now at the moment our coded message is in the form of array. As you can see, that doesn't look so good, so we will write a couple lines of the code that will convert it to look like that. So again, we are going to use a loop. So we have to start with an empty string. Okay, so before we start looping, we will make an empty string. So of course, in the first loop, our string will take the first letter from our coded message and add it to our string. In the second loop, it will take second letter from the message. In the third, it will take third letter of the message, and in the last loop, it will take the last letter from our message. And that is how we created our final coded message. So it is another simple loop. Don't forget to create the empty string, and it's all. Of course, our program will print a message that the message we entered was, and the coded message is. And of course, we are going to write a command that will run this program. So let's code something. Okay, I'm thinking about some extraordinary secret. Oh, I got one. Okay, it looks nice. So our coder is finished. Now let's make a decoder. So the decoder will work exactly the same way as the coder was. So first we have to input the message, the coded message, and then the program will transform it into the numbers. And then here's the difference. We will have to subtract 4, not add, subtract. Because when coder we were adding 4 and now we have to subtract it. And so we have the numbers, and just like in the coder, we have to transfer the numbers into the text. So in order to make a decoder, all we have to do is to copy coder, paste it into the empty project, change the name of the function, change plus to minus, change the printed message, and change the comment to run the program. So let's see if it works. Let's copy the message, let's paste it. Clark Kent is Superman. It will be all. I hope you liked the video. Feel free to comment, give me some advices, and at the end I got some examples for you how the coder could help in our lives.